Growing up during the 1990s was far from easy for a young girl named Klynn Scales. Living with her mom and two brothers in Kansas City, Missouri, their lives weren't exactly perfect, and it was a constant struggle to get by. There was, however, one moment in her daily routine that she loved, the time when she was able to wave to her favorite police officer on the street. It was a routine they both greatly enjoyed, and it brought a smile to both of their faces. So when Klynn didn't show up for their daily greeting one day, the officer instantly realized something was wrong. Hello, story lovers. I'm Jamie Buck, and here is... When Cop notices the girl he sees every day is missing, his instinct tells him to rush inside. Before we move on, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to our channel, and activate the notifications bell for new amazing videos. It goes without saying, but no two people's lives are the same. For Klynn Scales, growing up in Missouri with her mother and two brothers during the 1990s was rather difficult. Their lives were a constant struggle for a number of reasons. They lived together in a dangerous neighborhood of Kansas City that was riddled with drugs, violence, and crime. To make matters even worse, they were barely scraping by, and paying the bills was a daily concern. There was, however, one moment in Klynn's life each day that she never took for granted. Waving to her favorite local police officer, that routine brought a smile to both of their faces on a regular basis. One day, when Klynn didn't show up to wave to him, the officer immediately realized something was wrong. See, Klynn and the officer had become so close since she saw him every day. It wasn't long before she began to recognize him as an important person and a figure of stability in her life. But there was a lot the officer didn't know, such as how Klynn and her brothers would often go without food. As a last resort, Klynn would venture to the local 7-Eleven to steal various food items. She knew that what she was doing was wrong, but she also knew that she and her family had to eat to survive. It wasn't even an option. Though the officer didn't know how dire Klynn's family situation was, he still felt something was amiss when she didn't show up and wave that one fateful day. So he walked up to her house to see what was going on. There, the officer found the girl lying on the floor and severely sick. She told him that she couldn't breathe, so he scooped her up and rushed her to the nearest emergency room, where she was diagnosed with severe malnourishment. He ended up saving her life that day. Through all the bad situations, I would just picture him saying that he was here for us, and that if we ever needed him, he would be right there, Klynn recalled later. He would always protect us. So those words would come to me during the worst times of my childhood life. Years after the officer rescued her, Klynn still remembered the events that took place that day and all that he had done for her. He was that one person that I trusted in my life as a kid, she said. Roughly 20 years later, she determined how she wanted to repay him for his kindness. Klynn realized she'd never really learned the officer's actual name, so she logged on to Facebook to find the Kansas City Police Department's page to see if she could identify him. She managed to reach Sergeant Jennifer Jones, who emailed Sergeant Jeff Colvin. In her email, Sergeant Jones informed Sergeant Colvin that a little girl who had previously lived near the police station had reached out on social media and was looking for someone who fit his description. Sergeant Colvin was shocked. Sergeant Colvin suddenly realized who the girl was. Luckily, he had vivid memories of rescuing Klynn that fateful day years ago. I had actually thought about her and wondered whatever happened with her, he said. Finally connected, Klynn and Sergeant Colvin made plans to meet. When they finally did, she had the opportunity to thank him for what he had done for her. I just never thought this would happen, to find my hero, she said. Of course, her thanks meant a great deal to Sergeant Colvin. Most times we go through our career not realizing we truly helped anybody out, he recalled. That was the case with me, where I wondered if I was even in the right career path. The reunion also allowed Klynn to reveal all he had done for her that day. In rescuing her, he helped her turn her life around and get on the right track. Now she wanted to be a police officer, and she even enrolled in an academy in Houston, Texas. After Klynn arrived at home that evening, she went on her Facebook page to personally thank Sergeant Colvin for what he had done that day. Story of the day: I finally found my hero again. Her post read, "Thank you, Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. Jeff Colvin is not just a hero to me, but my guardian angel also. He was there when I had no one," wrote Klynn. "I want him and every police officer to know that what you do, no matter how big or small, you can make a positive impact in someone's life like he did mine." Did you like the story? Check out our channel for more.